Wheels cranked. Let's get it. This is post-match, but there's really no other time to talk about this, and it's whatever. But Sharpie sent it in the Slack chat, and once I heard it, I definitely knew I was going to play it as well. But Pep, twice, I have 2 clips of him talking about the ball that is used in the FA Cup. He quickly just touched on it in the pre-match presser, the first one that was public immediately, and it was kind of like it went over your head if you really weren't paying attention.
With that, I don't know how many chances or shoots, maybe not in target you the ball. The ball is difficult to bring in where you want, because sometimes this type of ball do whatever the ball wants.
It does whatever the ball wants. like it's it has its own soul. I love it. Once they got to the embargo presser, knowing that it drops 24 hours after the match, there will be other games being played. Pep can kind of hide back, and it can get buried. He let everybody know his thoughts on the ball.
There is one action from Phil. The Phil make with the left foot, to the far post, and the ball normally with the way they shoot make out inside, and that ball go away. So it's difficult to control it. So many years and many managers and players say about that, and when you lose, say that it's complaining, that but the ball is not proper. I'm sorry. For many, many years it happened for the FA Cup or Carabao Cup. I know it's a business. They arrive in agreement to do that, but the ball is not good. That is the truth. So the ball is not Champions League ball is exceptional. The Premier League ball is exceptional, but this one is not good.
If you watch the FA Cup games this year, there are moments where the game doesn't flow well. It's just like bad touches, shots gone awry. I always just put that towards teams not using their top sides early in the competition. Many managers have complained. Arteta, I played earlier this year, complained about the ball. Guardiola said later that the only reason why he's given the critique is because they won. Because he knew if he lost, 1, he might get fined, and 2, he'd look like he was just hating. Meter is the company who makes the ball for the competition, and they have a contract with the FA until the end of the 26-27 season. 2 more campaigns with this ball. Do you think everything keeps moving? Because like Pep said, it's a business. Or could Pep's words, maybe other managers join in with them, become a chorus? Could that change anything? Or how are you feeling about it? Sharpie, I'll start with you since you were the one who, locked in with it.
Yeah. I know for me, it's on a business standpoint, I don't think you can break a contract, right? Like there's nothing egregious. It's been tested. So like, I think that's what they came out and said, the FA said, right? Like, so it is what it is. Now what I think the managers and players have to do is that if you care about this cup, this is not the I don't care about cup, right? If you care about the FA Cup, which does have more prestige, then you just got to practice more. And it's hard to do because it's usually in the middle of 3 competitions for the bigger clubs. Now, the smaller sides, they have an advantage because they're usually coming off a fresh week. So, everybody has their own issue, but I don't think, to answer your question, I don't think it changes because if managers could make changes, we would have had far changes of all these different things, right? The FA moves very slow. So that's why I stand. What about you, Terry?
I think you're right on. I guess to touch on the last point that you said, yeah, if he comes out after a loss, it looks like you're salty, which is the same thing that I said or we said or whoever said about Arteta when it came out at the beginning of this, earlier in the season when they lost. It's everybody's playing with the same ball, so it's not like it's only penalizing you versus the other. But to Sharpie's point, when you have 3 matches or 2 matches, a midweek match all the time, you're playing every 3 days, it is hard to really get that level of practice training with the ball, being able to control it like you would a different ball that you're playing with all the time. But I don't think, again, do I think anything changes? No. Do I even want to hear it? not necessarily, because again, it doesn't change anything. So what's the point of bringing it up? But again, if you're going to bring it up after a win when it's not like you're salty, you're making excuses, whatever. You're just stating the facts. We won, but I still don't like that ball. And so I guess from that respect, it's better for us than it was for Arteta and Arsenal.
And something that made me think about as Tarek was talking was what happens when NBA or even the NBA players go over to the Olympics or FIBA tournaments, right? You have a whole different ball. There's a huge run up for it. You'll see them like if they do the Vegas select camps, you'll see all the balls out there. They got like 3 weeks to prepare a bunch of games. It's not like that. And so I know I take for granted the different, or like that, hey, every ball is the same. No, it's not. And they move differently. Like you can see over time with different technologies how different balls fly and like the curves and the things that they do. So it would make sense to why Pep and everybody else who plays this sport and loves the sport knows that these balls are different. I don't think he's capping. I don't think he's lying at all. It just sucks that it's the truth. Go ahead, Terry.
No. I agree with you. I was just gonna, you made me think about it. I was like, I know the NBA has its little mid-season or midweek tournament that it was doing earlier in the season. I don't even know if it's still going on or not. To be honest, I don't really pay attention or as closely as I used to. But I know that they did. I don't know if the ball is it the same ball that they normally play with, or
Same
they
ball,
switch the ball
same
out?
Wilson ball. Yeah.
See, it'd be interesting to know if they did switch it out to say a Spalding ball or whatever the ball they're using for FIBA, to see how that would go when you got to play that game. All of a sudden, your shooting percentages are way down, scores are way down, and then people would like, hey, what's going on? So yeah, it's definitely something to think about. I just, it is, again, like I said, better to do it on a win.
Yeah, I'm with you. One more thing. I feel like once a month I play or I think about putting on here. It's just a question from a reporter that is just like big old silly steak. Just a stupid question that annoys Pep. And here we go with another one.
If you could win this competition with a difficult season that you've had, would that be as big, as significant as any competition that you've won?
No. It's better to win the treble or quadruple. Come on.
But in terms of...
Yeah, have been a difficulty. We are not being good. It will be not, but it will not change. The season was not good.
So you still think it was a bad season if you win?
Of course not. We don't qualify for the first time a group stage in the Champions League, and since we are here in the Premier League, since 30, 40, 50 games left, we have no chance to win. It never happened that. So,
Did you like the second he did that high pitch, I knew some bullshit was coming. I was like, this son of a bitch. And he usually starts off each presser, and it's usually some annoying ass. Ugh.
When I heard him, here's the thing. That's a question for a club like Fulham, right? Or a club that just missed, that has a different level, a different standard. Because the FA Cup, like Newcastle, right? That really is going to hurt them that they don't get a chance to go after this cup. Because we know they aren't going to, like, it's hard to get Champions League, but you are in the league final. You might get the FA Cup run final. That's the level of question that makes sense for it. For City, this is not what we do. This is the and trophy. It's like you got Premier League and you got Champions League and like this is not our main idea, right? So that's where Pep's coming from. And it, when you have a high standard, you don't bring those levels down. You just admit, like, yeah, this will be great, but it doesn't change how much of a failure this has been with all the losses.
This is a question that you ask Arsenal if they were in it. If they were in it. If they were in it, you would ask them, hey, you're not going to win the league, and that's your goal. But if you win this, does it make it better? Reality is they're not in it. They're not going to win it. And there is no redemption for their season. So it is what it is.
And actually, I got one more stupid question, nonsense. And I might end up making a little clip of it for social media just because the way that Pep, you can tell how annoyed he is by just the way he responds, but his face is even hilarious, even more funny.
You will have seen the La Liga president, Javier Tebas, has reported the club.
Next.
Does it get tiring that this always comes up?
Next. It's like, please move on. Please move on.
Like, what part of next didn't you hear me say?
Like, I get it. You got it. In fact, you don't have to ask. And I get it's a thing. It'll be very popular on social media, but I just saw all the like major city accounts quoting Javier Tebas, and I was like, this is a conspiracy. This is Real Madrid propaganda. This is La Liga propaganda. Why are you pushing this?
Isn't it old anyway? Didn't it start in like 23? And it just came out or something like that?
I think it brought it up again, but he did say it was from 23.
Yeah, bring up old news. We got other charges to worry about, okay? More important charges, guys. Keep your eye on the ball, people.
Yeah, I just think that the fact that it conveniently comes up now when we believe we are right at the end of the 1-1-5 hoopla that's been going on for so long, it's like, it's just a reminder that it doesn't matter whether we are guilty or innocent. They are not going to let us be innocent in the court of public opinion. They are going to continue to flood the airways with, like you said, propaganda, whether it be La Liga propaganda, whether it be red cartel propaganda. At the end of the day, there is and again, call me conspiracy theorist if you want to, but it very much feels like there is a conspiracy to keep little city. And so they're doing what they can to make that happen.
And then here's the thing. They really hate us because they ain't us. Because when you look at in the Premier League in England, we get the best ratings now. You look at America, we get the best ratings now. So all the hate is helping the product. It's showing how great City is, because it's like when the Bulls went on their run, right? Either you loved them or you hated them, but you had an opinion. And that's the thing about City. We aren't just going to float around and be Spurs, or we're a laughing stock, or we're not going to be United where we had old success and we can laugh at you for being shitty now. It's like, no, like, y'all are the best. And we literally have to enjoy this one season that happens every 3 or 4 years where City falls off. So we got to really get everything in now, because everyone feels like, every pod I've listened to that's a neutral pod, different groups, they're all talking about, wait, is Pep's rebuild already happening? Yes, guys, we've been telling you, look at the roster. We just had to get healthy. like once you got in the winter window, yeah, y'all getting scared again. So, they know what it is.
I love it. Let's go. We making art over here. Capitalize that.
I hate the most is when you don't want the ball. I hate it. You have permission to make a mistake. You have permission to lose. You have permission.
And that's when we get big.
Yeah, I'm a genius.
Attack everyone and send everyone.
I think we're forgetting the most important thing. We're forgetting about focusing just on ourselves.
But we can do better. We need to take the next step, and there's no better place than taking the next step here.
Show ourselves out there how much we want to win it again.
We win 4 of the last 5 Premier League, guys. 4 of the last 5 Premier League. Are we going to do it again?
Don't ask me again about doubles, triples, quadruples, fifth-tuples, six-tuples, and seven-tuples. So,
don't do it. Hey. Welcome to episode 130 of Shades of Blue.
World's famous.
We are the most comprehensive show about Manchester City, covering both the men and women's game, spanning both sides of the Mason-Dixon line. We making art over here. Capitalize the A. I am Crunk Chocolate, and I'm here with my show bros, Sharpie Charlie, Tarek. How's it going? Let's go.
What's good?
Yo, it's a good Monday. I want to send some love out to the homie Tom Bomb, who's, had a little back injury. We do that, but like City, same pod, same passion. We're gonna pick up the slack. We're gonna keep it rolling for our guy.
Oh, love it. Oh, before we get into anything else, what I need you to do right now, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up, like the video, show some love, leave a comment on what you thought of the episode. If you're on a podcasting app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, any of those, if you can rate, if you can review, please do that. It helps the podcast grow. 5 stars. 5 stars. Anything else, I might think you're hating. And that's okay. You know, sometimes hating, it be like that. You know, Kendrick set it off in 2024. Actually, Cat Williams set it off in 2024. And so we just been kind of going. So, you know, hateration, holleration. It'd be like that sometimes. Check out our Patreon for $6 a month. You can get easily, it's about 16 to 20 something extra episodes a month, over 20 hours of content. We have our match preview series, Breaking Bread. For example, we have Adam of 1865, the Nottingham Forest podcast, who will be joining us to talk about the match on the weekend. We have for City Women, part of the Pride Pod, will be joining us to talk some City Women's FA Cup against Aston Villa. And next week, Andre Carlisle of Diaspora United, We Are a Spirit, will be coming through to talk about the marathon of matches between City and Chelsea. Our interview series, Chopping It Up, where in the next couple of weeks, amazing guests, Man City Internationals, Sheik, our DK, is coming through, as well as Hamza and Larry Henry Jr. Truly, banger after banger after banger after banger of episodes available on Patreon for only $6 a month. Check out our show description in the links. And also our lit stream this Thursday. We have Ty Brooks, Theo Lloyd Hughes, and Musa coming through 7 p.m. Thursday. Think late night talk show, but footy. It's always a good time. Check us out. Whew. In today's episode, only one match for both City men and women to review, which means there are topics we can get stuck in on, if you can't tell from our opening segments. Whew. We also got, speaking of City women outside of the game, WSL is contemplating taking away Pro Rail. And then Ellie Roebuck did an interview in which she talked about her final year at City. So definitely want to kind of delve into those. But first, our City men. And we're going to start with a review of City's win against Argyle.
The manager, Miran Muslic, described facing you as the biggest honour of his life. That's a really nice compliment.
I have an incredible bottle of wine after the game for him after this words.
And I have no doubt that it is an incredible bottle of wine. Sky Sports has a great interview with Miran Muslic talking about himself and doting over Pep Guardiola. So if y'all have a moment, it's about 15 minutes. Check it out because he really is a great person to just really listen to. I think if Argyle continued to have success within the next year or two, he could be one of the new names that will be trendy. But we're here going to talk about Claudio El Diablito Echeverri. He had arrived last week, and the homie Saul during the lit stream, he was hopeful. He was like, I think he could start. We could see a debut. That did not happen. And naturally, Pep was asked about the Argentine, and he kind of threw a little cold water on the situation. But he has a reason.
First team.
I don't know. So we are in the decisive part of the season. 2 months, where every game is a final for us. But now we are winning in Spurs. We are 4, but if we win against result, we will 6, 7. We lose 1 or 2 games, and right now we finish in 8. So everything is so tight, and every game is a final. We have 2 games in the Premier League before international break, massively important because Nottingham is the 3rd, and Brighton is there.
And Brighton is there. So yeah, I would love to see him, but it's a lot to put on a player super early in intense moments. Maybe if we end up beating down a team, we could see him come on, but I really wouldn't expect it.
I think he kind of hit on it too, just the fact that we got 2 games before the international break. So if you think about and it's effectively we have one game a week. So he's got 2 weeks plus the 2 weeks for the international break before the game on the 29th against Bournemouth. So there's about a month, 4 weeks, give or take, that he's going to have to actually train with the club. As great as we think he might be, he's never worked with Pep. Pep's never seen him, outside of just maybe in passing or whatever. So I would like to think these 2 weeks might be too soon, but these 2 weeks plus the weeks of the international break coming back after the international break would position him really well to be able to play, make some appearances throughout the rest of the season. Again, I don't think it'll be a lot, but it might be the occasional one-off here or there, especially, as we get towards the end of the season, we get Champions League places locked up. There's nothing really to play for except for the FA Cup. Why not throw the kids out there?
I'm going to make a prediction. I feel, looking at today's date, the time recording is March 3rd. I feel that in 30 days, when we play Leicester at home, I think that'll be Echeverry's debut. I think that'll be Bob's welcome back. Pep's, other than the mistake he made with Mateus Nunes doing his debut at Wolves, he's normally pretty good about when he chooses to start players. And of course, we were forced to start Kuznetsov in the injury crisis when he came in. But think about when they started Hayes, right? Got him at home. Even though it was an FA match, wasn't a top tier opponent. So I feel like going against Leicester, that's the match you come in 85th minute, 87th minute, whatever, just to run a little bit. And then, as Tarek said, you're building towards the end of the season where, okay, we off every week. You're familiar now. Go in there in the 75th minute and see what you got against whoever. So I wouldn't put any stock into him playing, especially because we have 3 really good top half opponents in Forest, Brighton, and Bournemouth the rest of March.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would want to see him in those late season matches when win, lose, or draw. At that point, like I said, if we've already got the season wrapped up, don't no shade, but don't bring in Gundo, don't bring in even KDB, don't bring in Mateo Kovacic, don't bring in Bernardo, bring in him. Give him a chance, get his, get accustomed to playing with the club. We're going to need him, and we can use him in the Club World Cup. So to me, as we get later on, I just want to see him. I don't want to see, like you said, those old heads. I think you call them millennials. I don't even know what group I'm in, to be honest with you. I think I'm before them. So
you're the Gen X.
I'm just old. That's just what it is. I'm just old. Old man footy. But anyway, just get that man on the pitch, get him some minutes, get him accustomed to playing with the club and with the players, and let's see what he can do when we really turn him loose next season.
Yeah,
hopefully he shows enough to hang around next season.
Yes,
when he get out there.
Yeah, and that's kind of the big talks is he will need to impress because there's a possibility he might go elsewhere. We have Echeverry, Maka, O'Reilly, even Nunes. There are a lot of these players that can guarantee their next year, or worst case, raise the transfer fee for the summer. So, I just think it's important to, because we know what we have with Gundo, we know what we have with Kova, we know what we have with KDB. These are the things. So, we just need to. We have a lot of question marks on the squad, and I would like to get some more answers if we can.
Might be some foreshadowing for later in the episode. I might ask that question about a particular player, but we'll get to it when we get to it.
And speaking of particular players who may or may not be leaving, naturally somebody had to ask about the Gucci Puma, Jack Grealish, and what was going on with his absence.
Jack played in Argyle and played really good, and had to play against Madrid. Madrid is not a friendly game, right? After 20 minutes was out for injury. So it happened this season. And after when you see Jeremy now or Fabio in that position, it's obvious how they had to play. So, but the reason why I didn't play much was not able because had the niggles or problems. Like tomorrow, I don't know, we'll be ready. To play in a game like you have to be there. So this is the question. No question mark about his quality. Please never, ever doubt the quality from Jack has, but have not been for problems. Had not played 3 games in a row. Play a game against Nottingham, play good, and after maybe didn't play, and after in the training session was injured again. So not big issues, but cannot make a big effort and sprint for a, again and again and again. This is the only question mark. No, another one.
And that really is the problem with Jack Grealish. The questions with Jack Grealish are always with him. It's never about his talent. It's how much he wants to be on the pitch. Can he be on the pitch? Can he be serious enough? Can he put down the book? Like, it's all of these questions that are off the pitch type of things instead of the talent when he is on the pitch. So, yeah, I would like for him to get a healthy run. I mean, all of our wingers, him, Doku, Savio, even he's been playing in and out through stuff. Honestly, the whole squad. Like, I just wish we could get a nice little just healthy streak. Let us just hold on to the players that we have for the rest of the season. And one match a week, that should definitely help. That should definitely be help. And before we get into the game, McAtee, he has been tied to Leverkusen as possible trade bait for Florian Wirtz to Manchester. Maka got some love from Pep, but not in a way that I expected. It wasn't about his play or him being patient about his lack of minutes.
I like the McAtee, the way he celebrated the second goal that was disallowed from Erling Haaland. In the last minutes, the way he celebrated the goal. I like to see this type of players. I like it. I'm sorry. I'm an amateur with that. I saw a game, I think, against maybe Orion. The second goal from Kevin, the John Stone celebrate. It was my first sign of second with Gundogan 8-9 years ago. Playing Orion, playing in World Cups, in European Cups, win everything. The way the John celebrated, I like that. Still, I have, when I see this kind of reactions and behaviors, I see something inside that is still, you like to play football in this club. Or you're a septic and it doesn't matter if you win or lose. That is not a good sign. And that's why Maka, I like it when I saw it. Come for the bench, maybe 10, 15 minutes, suffering to finish the game, to win in the Spurs, and Erling score a goal, and after what is allowed and the way celebrate, I like it.
Pep always talks about that passion, the fire in the bulls, in the stomach. He wants players to fight, to stay. And biggest proof, still to this day, is Zinchenko. So, like, if you want to stay, obviously you're at City, so you have the quality. That's not the question. It's how much do you want to be here? Oh, you don't want to? Okay, fine. Go elsewhere. All right, fine. See you, Cole. All right, bye. See you. Like, we have the history of all these players. All right, Leroy Sané. All right, bye, bud. Like, it's never a question of their quality. It's how badly do you want to stay, especially when you're playing 3, 4 competitions, 5 competitions every year. You kind of have to have that hunger. You have to want to fight because you're going to be playing twice a week, and only people who want to play that type of football need to be there. Because if you ask for a break, you want time off. Pep is like, okay, fine then. Take 3 weeks off. And they're like, no, I just want 1. And they're like, nope, bye. See you when I see you. So, yeah, it makes me hopeful for McAtee, honestly. But starting 11 for this FA Cup match against Argyle was Ortega, O'Reilly, Ake, Hayes, Lewis, Silva, Gundogan, KDB, Grealish, McAtee, and Foden. We anticipated Haaland getting rest. He needs it. We know we're very low in the center back pairing. I was shocked to see Ake because last I had heard he was injured and he wasn't feeling the best. But, Diaz needs rest as well. He's an old, broken man. So it's good to see him. And then Hayes, shout out to him. Kuzenov's been working his ass off. Yeah, old man midfield. And the average age, practically 100. So there was that. I guess it didn't worry me because, again, it's Argyle. They're a mid-table championship squad, respectfully. But yeah, how did y'all feel when you saw the lineup? Derek, I'll start with you.
I think I'm looking at it again. Yeah, I mean, pretty. There were enough more veteran, more experienced players mixed in that I didn't really come into this match thinking we were going to struggle or we needed, I felt we would handle our business, we would take care of it, and we would beat this team. So when I looked at the lineup, I saw there were enough veteran presence to help get us over the line. But then you also got to see some of the younger, the new generation, those younger kids, seeing Hayes, for instance, seeing McAtee, seeing Rico, O'Reilly, seeing those players mixed in was probably great. And the fact that we had those older players in there says to me that Pep was resting the new, like the Nico Gonzalez's, the Omar Marmouches. Those players are being arrested because they're the ones we're going to be depending on the rest of the season. I can use these guys in this type of match. And so it said a lot to me about this particular game, but I was reading into it what it said about and what it kind of foreshadowed for the rest of the season. And so from that standpoint, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to see. So, yep, perfect.
Sharpie, knowing that Argyle had knocked out Brentford, had knocked out Liverpool, seeing all of this rotation was, I guess, what percentage chance did you give Argyle to win?
1% chance.
Oh,
because they have to. Yeah, because we're Man City. What? Like in a knockout competition. Like with going against a relegation side. They're not a mid-table side, Crunk. They are in the relegation zone, 3 points above below the drop. Yeah, you want them to be. They play better under the manager.
Yeah.
And they still are where they are. They're under Luton, to give you any perspective. Or level with Luton, but go different. So anywho, I saw the lineup and I said, great. The millennial midfield is popping. We got youth around the outsides. We got Jack doing his thing on the left. Foden back in his comfortable false nine. So it felt like a nice balance. It's can I say what happened to Ake, or are you saving it for later?
Oh no, go for it.
So seeing, like Tarek said, was shocked to see Ake, happy to see him, and he really left it all on the field for the club. This is very similar to me what happened with Laporte a few seasons ago, where he definitely could have had surgery earlier in the season, chose to play and train and do as much as he could until physically he could not give anymore. So then you see him have to have his foot surgery. And that's about the last 2 to 3 weeks after after Akanji had to go do the same thing. I'm giving you everything I got. I'm not complaining. I'm just going to work. My body says no, and I have to stop for surgery. So when you talk about servants to a club, that's what you mean. It's like, I'm leaving everything on the pitch. That's the stuff that even though you may not get a statue, the supporters will never forget. Like I will forever respect Ake and Akanji for what they did this season, because everything with this season would have said, let me just put myself first. And you couldn't blame them. Hey, I'm going to get the surgery in January and I'm out. They pushed it till they literally could not do it any longer. So thank them for that service. And yeah, so like seeing the lineup and knowing what we had on the bench in case, that's what Liverpool was missing. We could break that glass in case of emergency with all those heavy hitters on the bench. So I felt that's why I felt like it was a 99% chance we win.
You talked about Ake and just how, again, what he has done and how it mimics that what was done by Laporte. And in my opinion, after that season where Laporte truly gave everything he had, his knee was all shot up. But in my opinion, he was never the same. And he ended up leaving and going elsewhere. And I think he's kind of getting back maybe a little bit. But again, it's hard to say when you're playing over in Saudi, right? So he truly sacrificed his body for the club, and to a certain extent, it cost him the rest of his career at City, at least. And it's unfortunate that you hope that Ake's story is different, that he's able to bounce back and kind of get back to those same levels. The same thing about Akanji. But you talk about people, like you said, giving their all for the club. And the unfortunate part is we don't always know what they're going through. And we're not paid to do this, but we do it because we love it. But there's people who, like us, are out here and we're having conversations without all of the knowledge, without all the information. And so we're criticizing people oh, they can't stay healthy, they can't do this, they can't do that. And I understand it because I'm a part of those conversations. But yeah, he can't stay healthy because he should have had surgery months ago. But he didn't because there's no one else to play. And so he's given Pep what he can. And so, yeah, when he makes a mistake, or when he has flare-ups and he has to go out for a week or two, those things are going to happen. But I think sometimes as fans and supporters, we're just a little we can be a little too critical without all of that information. And again, there's no way for us to have it. So we're only speaking based on what we know. But it in a much lesser way, it reminds me of the whole Chadwick Boseman conversation when he coming after doing Black Panther, and people saw him on social media, didn't understand what he was dealing with, and had a lot to say about his appearance, had a lot of criticism about his appearance, not knowing that he was truly fighting for his life in those moments. Not nearly at the same level, but we're criticizing these players. Akanji, oh, he's falling off. Ake, he can't stay healthy. John Stones, yeah, but what are they doing? What have they given that has got their bodies in those positions to begin with? And that's the unfortunate part that I think we just have to be mindful of. Again, it's not that we can't talk about it, but we got to be careful we don't speak too heavy about something we don't know.
And you brought up Stones, and again, I've been a part of the conversation, joking around, people call him Mr. Glass, but it's real. Of course, you're going to be glass. You can't turn the steel because you literally don't have time to get healthy. And if it happens in the middle of a season while things are going down, like the choice is to fight or flight, right? And every player has chosen to fight. You think about Kevin De Bruyne, right? It came out that last year he should have had surgery during the run-in, really.
Yeah.
But he stayed. He kept going. He pushed it so we could get that fourth in a row. And then obviously that's hurt him on the back end because now you're coming back and it's slow. But he left it all out there. So every player, since I've been a supporter, I haven't seen one player quit on City, right? You can never say that. Has their form dropped? Have they gotten, oh yeah, that's life. That's sport. But what these players have given and the amount of winning we have, no other club more than likely in the next 20 years will ever see 6 and 7. And they damn sure won't see 4 in a row. The levels that these men have been through or been to, you can't get that with just I just kind of care. They literally left it all out there. And I think they deserve that praise because it doesn't happen enough from all over YouTube, Spotify, whatever podcast, Twitter, Blue Sky. We aren't praising them for the things they've done. We're only looking at, oh, your performance isn't the same. And yeah, we know this is going to happen. All of our club legends got older and we saw them fall off. Fernandinho getting burnt at the Bernabeu. We'll never forget it. It didn't take away from his career, right? But he was doing that in service because there was nobody else there. Kyle Walker, earlier this season, he wasn't fully healthy. He still tried to play. It's the same thing, except he said, I'm going to choose my mental peace and I got to go because I was getting a lot of other stuff that these players, and some of deserve whatever, but it took it over the top with the memes. So everybody has their reasons, but we won't see a generation of players like this. They don't make them like this anymore. I would be very, very curious to see if we ever get in a situation again, 5, 6, 7 years down the road, how many players are saying, you know what, I needed to get that surgery, Pep, or whoever the manager is. Sorry.
Pep forever.
No, God, no. He's the man needs to go. He needs to go back and get his. He need to go get his wife back.
He does need to go get his wife back.
But yeah, so I'm just grateful for them. I just want to give that gratitude.
Oh no, that was great. Great point. In this match, Talavarov scored first. Set piece, massive man, did his thing. But before the end of the first half, O'Reilly got our set piece goal. He was the one who helped us get the lead. And KDB coming on late in the match. KDB, it took, I thought he felt like a sub because he was kind of MIA. And that's a little harsh, but he was a little MIA for the first maybe 60, 65 minutes. We had to watch along. And truly, it was all of a sudden, we were just like, oh, wait, KDB's cooking now. All of a sudden, it took 62 minutes. And that's actually kind of what made me hopeful, because usually about 60 minutes, that's when he falls off. But instead, it took him 60 minutes, and then all of a sudden, he was cooking. All of a sudden, he was everywhere, and he was making the passes, and he was creating chances. It was exciting to see. even Foden looked better at moments. Hayes covered himself in glory. I mean, obviously, the story of the match is O'Reilly, but I guess what from this match stuck out to you guys?
Real quick, on Kevin De Bruyne, right? I was giving him stick on the watch along because he was actually terrible the first like 40 minutes.
Yes, he was.
Like it was so bad. And it's like he played, and I was even saying it right before the kick. Like, I don't know, man. Kevin De Bruyne, he's not putting him on plates anymore. He's just spraying this stuff all over. And then he puts one on a plate perfectly for Nico O'Reilly. And it's like once he got that one kick and that perfect whip ball in, the floodgates open. He just took off in the second half. And so credit to him. And of course, towards the end, the subs came on. Holland came on later, opened up the space.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really helpful. And then they did what they do. Like it was a wonderful second game-winning goal for Nico to get that. And then obviously a brace in the FA Cup for your boyhood club, been here since 8, all that stuff. He did it in a more meaningful way than McAtee's hat trick. I just want to put that on blast, on record.
Yeah.
McAtee's hat trick was totally meaningless. It did nothing for the scoreline. We needed both Nico goals. Like he is the match winner. And to have and playing out of his natural position, coming up from left back, right, having defensive responsibilities and trying to get into the attack. Extremely, extremely impressed with the young lad.
Yeah. And
Derek, what'd you take away from it?
I mean, pretty much said it all. I mean, again, coming into it, I didn't have any real concerns about us losing this match. Even when we went down 1-0, it was disappointing. But I still thought there was enough time for us to. I think my issue, not even issue, or the thing that I guess made me feel okay, because I felt like we were still creating, even when we weren't scoring. And that sounds very much Arsenal like. They always talk about how many goals, how many chances they create, but they still only score from set pieces. So I understand how it sounds, but it's real. I mean, 14 shots, 3 shots on target, 3 big chances, 2 big chances missed in the first half, right? We could have had more. We should have had more. And to me, I hear a lot of people, oh, City just got by. They barely made it past. I don't feel that way. I feel like, yeah, it took time to finally get the goal. And had they not scored first, that conversation wouldn't even be happening. But I just feel like we're at a place where people want to, have something to say about City, something negative. But to me, this was, I don't want to say comfortable, but kind of fairly comfortable. I really do think it was.
That's accurate words, yeah.
And so, I just think we went in there, we were creative, we handled our business. And Pep has always preached patience and calm, right? So, hey, just keep doing what you're doing. They can't stop you forever. They can throw their bodies in the way, they can get lucky, keeper make saves, whatever. But that only goes so far. If you keep peppering the goal, if you keep creating those chances, you will score eventually. So just keep doing what you're doing. And thankfully, we got the goal before half. So it really changed the whole mentality of the second half. But to me, this game wasn't as close as people are trying to make it sound in the media.
Yeah.
So a couple thoughts, and this is really cool to compare. So first of all, Terry, get right on with the domination. We had over like 400 more completed passes. They only literally had that one shot, and that was the only thing they ever gave us. Like that was a 0.09 XG goal from that header. And nothing else happened. There was no other chances. There was no counters. There was no, ooh, did it go over the bar? I don't know. Nothing. We shut off the water, right? Now I do want to think about this. If you compare this to how they went against Liverpool, they finished that match with more XG than Liverpool, 1.29 to 1. They had 10 shots to Liverpool's 14. They had 2 on target. They got their big chance scored, and that was the match, right? So like we literally didn't even give them anything close to the level of hope or fear that they put into Liverpool where they were countering it. Because I watched that match, like they were going at them, and they had enough more set pieces because they had more of the ball. Even with possession was like 75-25, but they got more breakaways. So it was truly a credit to the players on the pitch. And I think like the mentality towards the end of the first half You're running around chasing City for 45 minutes. You don't do that in championship. Like nobody's dominating the ball like that. So mentally, that's why you might get switched off a little bit on that set piece. That's why you don't react as fast. And then in the second half, it's like, damn, we got to do this again. We know they got the goal. We thought we were up, and now it's like, fuck. And then, you running around for another 25 minutes, and then boom, Nico's second goal, and it's like, all right, we done. Damn, they bringing on Holland. What? That's not fair. And like you just see the levels go down. And now you're bringing on subs. These subs have fresh energy, but they're subs on a relegation side championship team. So the quality leaves, right? So like you just see how this happens if you play it right. And we called it before the match. We thought it would be 3-0, and it really felt like a 3-0, even though it was a 3-1. So yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, all I really have is this chat on Pep was asked about Nico O'Reilly.
Sometimes you take a good decisions, otherwise you're not to score 2 goals today. He's not a typical player for the academy because all the academy players, they are so small, skills, good talent, but he has a big presence. Normally he's attacking midfielder, he's a number 10, right to the box really well, have a sense of goal, but for the problems that we have, and he adapted really well with the fullback, I think, and playing the holding midfielder, and is another threat, for our set pieces because we are not a tall team, and he helped us. And yeah, he played really good with the ball, without the ball, and helped us with 2 fantastic goals.
And lastly, Vitor Heiss was massive back there. Honestly, like truly seeing him, and he's left-footed, but he was playing next to Ake because he's the primary left-footed. 9 clearances, 7 headed clearances, 11 defensive actions, 2 recoveries, dribbled past 0. He won 11 duels. Went from 9 for 13 with aerial duels, 2 for 3 on ground duels, and he completed the most passes in the match. Like truly, the idea that we can have Kuznov and Hayes side by side for the next decade, like we really are just like spoiled. Like blessed is probably more the accurate word.
And it goes to show you, again, we were in such a bad way. It was a lot of vitriol around the club at that point in time, but they know what they're doing, man. They to identify these two, and then not just to identify them, because there were a lot of clubs looking at them, but then to go get them and do what it takes to bring them in, and kind of really set the stage for our back line once, because again, we know there's a group that's kind of reached their peak. Diaz is kind of on the back end of that. He's going to be the one of those in the next couple of years reaching his peak. But we've got players already in-house that can come in and fill that void and really push the Diaz's of the world, push those players over time. Will they push them next year? Maybe not, but it's just a matter of time. They'll be it's going to be hard to keep these guys out of that starting lineup because they've shown they have that quality. It was good to see him because we haven't seen him as much as we've seen Kuznov. So it was definitely good to see him, and to see him thrive was like, yeah, again, well, he's on playing against the championship, playing against Plymouth. You can only play who's on the pitch. So again, I don't knock it. Again, that's who lined up against him. He handled his business. Go ahead, Charlie.
I just want to make this point to joke United, and it's not to the players, it's for United. So United paid £62 million for a 19-year-old defender. He may be great, they're going through a lot. It's not on him, right? Black man, I hope he does well and doesn't get hurt in his career. Euro, yeah, win the Euro. City paid 71 million euros for both of our defenders. So when you talk about scouting and return on investment, and I can get 2 players with 71 versus this one player who still may be great, but it's only one for 60 when I know I need more. Like that's the levels. And this is where you always look at, who has the highest net spend? It's United, it's Arsenal, it's Chelsea. Like they just buy. Whereas we like intentionally buy. And yeah, you have a Calvin Phillips. It happens. Right. But usually 8 times out of 10, City hits. And that's a crazy percentage. And shout out to Cheeky for getting his last window perfectly done. Truly, truly great work. And even if you want to think about it, he set up Echeverri to come in this very moment. because it was agreed to last January.
Mhm.
They said, no, 1 more year, River, come in after the South Pseudo America tournament under 20, and then you'll be into the squad, and boom, seamless transition in when you can always use more legs in midfield, more creativity. Like, bravo to Cheeky.
I do want to give Viana credit. Viana apparently was the person who was pushing for Hayes. Turk?
No, I didn't. I was just going to go back to a conversation we were having earlier in the episode. We were talking about players who play and either build their spot or lock in their spot for the coming seasons, or like I think you said, they kind of raise the bar as to what kind of offer it would take to get them out of the door. And I wanted to, and I didn't. I was foreshadowing, but I wanted to talk about Nico O'Reilly, because we know he had an offer. He could have gone to Chelsea. Whether he decided to stay, whether we wouldn't let him go, however it happened, he's still here. Do we see us being able to keep him? And assuming that if the answer to that is yes, do we see him playing more in the midfield as opposed to out on the left?
I hope so. I know Pep is trying to talk him into a holding midfield position, and he is tentative on that because he usually is up in attack. He's usually scoring. But I think games like this is perfect example where he can be like, look, you scored twice as a left back. So like you can do that as a defender. You obviously have more scoring potential than Rodri. But it's just like your size. Like, yeah, you can do great things offensively, but like you could truly become world class being a defender or being a holding midfielder.
I think he has the ability to, because he was trained as a midfielder, he can play the Cancelo role right off the rip. Like it's not even a thing if you think about coming back next season fresh.
Mm-hmm.
He can say, "Hey, you're going to invert." Vardiol does it too. He's just not as, he is technically just bigger. It just looks crazy because he's a freak of nature too, like Holland. But they both have that ability. And I forget, like Nico's naturally left-footed, so it's not even like you're taking away the potential of like crosses and playing the ball and overlaps and things like that. So his game could expand. Although I really think he has the physique, the silhouette to be the heir apparent to Rodri, right? Nico's already an established vet, Nico Gonzalez, versus 23-year-old, he's a player, he knows it. But Pep can mold you in his last 2 seasons to say, bro, like Rodri's going to be 30, 31. You can slide right into this the same way he did with Rodri filling in for Fernandinho. So that's where I hope it goes.
And I think again, I talked about the defenders where you have a Hayes and a Kuzanov that are coming behind the Diaz's and that group. It's the same thing. You have Nico O'Reilly that's playing, you have Nico Gonzalez that's going to be playing either alongside with Rodri, maybe back him up a little bit. But when Rodri is moving off the scene, because again, he's older, you're going to have Nico O'Reilly ready to step in and step right into that role, and we don't miss a beat. So my hope is that we can persuade him to stay, and that he's okay with how we see his career developing. Because if he pushes for a move, we know Pep's going to let him go. So I'm hoping that we can get him to stay. I don't even want to ask the question about if he decides to move, what it would take, because I don't want to entertain that at the moment. But,
don't even put that in there.
Yeah, I don't even want to put that out there.
That's my guy though. Nico's my guy the way McAtee is Tom's guy. Like I see, like when I saw him this summer in person at UNC, I was like, oh, he's him. Like I see it. And in every preseason match, he was doing something. He was making things happen. And now you see like 7 months later, 6 months later, it's like, oh, he's still, like, he really has gotten even better since then. Like that's the growth of all those training sessions going against these world-class players. Your level raises. So when you play Argyle, no disrespect, but you are ready to ball out.
I can't wait to see him make one of those Yaya Toure lung busting runs with the ball through the midfield.
And he can.
Because you can't get the ball off that dude. He's so strong. You see him just kind of stiff arming cats when they trying to get up close on him. It's the opposite of Rico Lewis, right? Rico is very technical, but he's, you just overpower him. You ain't overpowering dude. And he's still technical. It's impressive. It's really impressive to see. And he's a
It's
young kid. It's just
exciting.
like, man,
19, dog. Like, oh, he's black. He's one of us. I'm so
I think
excited.
seeing him score those 2 goals and just how wide-eyed he was, and just it was like, I love it because again, he's my kid's age. So it's like, I love this for this kid. It's really impressive to see, man.
The
Kudos to
beautiful
him.
thing about watching City and watching footy is that like you get kind of in America the blend of college age kids and pro level like age adults. So in the same team you have a Kevin and a Jack and your Edison's over 30. You also have these kids that are trying to break through and make their name. The same way we fell in love with Phil and we fell in love with Cole, and you fall in love with kids, you get these big transfers, you get young transfers. Like it's a mix of all these different stories that keep you invested, and like you like, hey, that's my guy, and like that's why we buy shirts, and like you just get excited when certain people get on the pitch for 8 minutes. Oh my god, he's finally getting on. Like when Echeverry makes his debut or Oscar Bob finally comes back, it's gonna be like, oh my god, Oscar Bob is back. He dominated. It was supposed to be his season. Now he returns to finish it off. Like these are the things that we get excited about, and that's why we have a podcast for 3 years. Shouts to the anniversary coming up.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah.
And I guess another very important thing about Nico, about Maka, if we're able to hold on to them with our growing international squad, those homegrown spots are going to become very important. And it'll be very tough having to try to bring in a Gahey, a Wharton, these players that will cost so much more because we're being taxed. We're being doubly taxed. We're paying a premier tax, an English tax, and a city tax. So it's just easiest to just hold on to these homegrown players while we got them. You gonna say something?
No, I was, but I'm not. I'm just talking about taxation and
okay.
no taxation without representation. It's not even funny right now because the state of
the world.
our country.
Yes,
so
yes,
I just
yes,
like whatever. I just leave it
That's
alone.
fair. I saw so many posts from Argyle fans raving about Pep after the match. He had a long talk with Argyle's manager. He chatted up the players. He even walked over to the traveling fans and showing respect, clapping and thanking them for the travel. It's a 5-hour trip from Plymouth to Manchester. So like that's real. That's a 5-hour trip knowing that chances are your team has a 1% chance to win, using Sharpie's numbers. So the FA Cup draw for the quarterfinals happened on Sunday. The matchups are Brighton versus Nottingham Forest, Preston versus Aston Villa, Fulham versus Crystal Palace, and Bournemouth versus Man City. City's game will be probably the 29th because they have a game on April 2nd. The FA Cup quarterfinals is the first match back from international break, which means the lads could be rusty. How are we feeling about City's chances on the road against a Bournemouth side who will be up for this challenge?
First of all, I'm going. No, you're going to Manchester. You need to just stand in front of any and all airplanes trying to take off with City players on it. They can't go on international break. They got to stay their butts at home. Stay right here in Manchester because we can't have any more injuries, man. Y'all stay home. Y'all don't need to go. Stay at home.
Wait, question: are we skipping Forest to talk about Bournemouth?
Nah, he did. I mean,
no.
We're talking about. I just keep it.
No,
in the
I'm
FA
just
Cup.
just a quick. Just a quick.
Oh, I think we'll be fine. Barring injury, barring any major injuries, which is our biggest caveat, we finally are finding our flow. So those people that were on the bench, they'll be starting the quarterfinal match. Like you will have Holland starting, you will have Barmouche, you will have every Doc Usmini. Like so, Bournemouth's getting a different match than they got before. So I think we'll win.
And I think they've got a couple absences due to some red cards too. I believe that's what I read. So it'll be interesting to see who's actually like Kirkez and I think there's someone else.
Oh yeah. Carcass is
He's a
big
big
for them.
loss on the left.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
huge. He
yeah.
killed
He's
us.
a baller.
So again, I don't ever want to take it for granted because again, any game, especially this late in the tournament, is going to be difficult. But it is setting up for us to advance to the next round, to the semifinals, and then guys, just take our chances.
All
Last
right.
thing about Bournemouth, real quick. Sorry, my bad.
For sure. No, you're good. You're good.
Is that they've fallen off. Remember when they were level with us on points or ahead of us in the table, right? We got a 4-point lead on them. And same thing with Nottingham Forest, right? They're only 1 point ahead of us. So over time, they've never done it before. Young teams, how do you play when it's now the second time you're getting you're playing the opponents and everybody knows you're good now? This isn't the first time too where it's a shock. It does have wear and tear. And just in like the mentality and like the mental part of the game. Now you talk about red cards, little injuries, even though they got Evan Nilsson back, which is great for them. You're starting to see that slide that happens. Look at Chelsea, right? It's really hard to do this. And that's what I was saying earlier about like the people in City know how to get through an entire campaign. And so I know it sounds really boring and stuff. And I'm always like calm and tranquillo back in December and January. But this is why, because we still have months left. And even now, you still got all of March, April, and May. And I don't know if other clubs who haven't done this, they have to learn how to do this.
Yeah. In Nottingham, after we can move on to the match this week and against Nottingham Forest, after their beatdown of Brighton 7-0, that was February 1st, they haven't won since. 2-2 draw in the FA Cup. They won through pens against Exeter. Then they lost to Fulham. And then they lost to Newcastle. And then they drew to Arsenal. And they get another squeeze through 1-1 draw, win in penalties against Ipswich in the FA Cup. They're just not playing their best football at the moment. And that's kind of what you want to see. You want to see a team that isn't playing their best while City seem to be playing their best. They're going to have a week to practice. Players can get 2 days of rest. Like they can just kick it at the house, spend time with their family, walk their dogs, like come back smiling, laughing. It's like the vibes will be immaculate. And yeah, I'm just very hopeful about this match. What do we think? Score prediction? I mean, obviously we'll ask again. Oh, it's a 6:30 a.m. match. Ooh, I don't know about that. We might just have
If
to.
you want to do it, I'm down, bro. If you
Okay.
if you down,
I'm down. I'm down.
We can very early morning show on a Saturday. Terry, how you feeling, man?
Yeah, we winning.
Nottingham Forest. I think I'm never going to root against this. It's going to be difficult. It depends on, I guess we know our defense has been playing with injuries. So is Diaz really ready to go? If not, are we going to roll Kuzanov and Hayes out there? Are you going to put Vardiol back at the back? So those are the kinds of questions that make it hard to really say. But I'm always thinking we're going to win. So I'm going to say City win by 1 goal, whether that's a 1-0 or a 2-1. I think we win it, but I think it's going to be tight. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I think we can win by 2. And again, like it could be 3-1, 2-0, something like that.
I see, because I said this after those 2 bad losses, right? We won't play any other teams nearly as good as Liverpool and Real Madrid. And we aren't. And Bournemouth's not as good as either of them. So we're going to beat them. And we're going to have a week off, full of training sessions, recovery sessions. Like it's like catching Andy Reid off a bye. Shouts to Tom. When Andy Reid comes off a bye, aside from the Super Bowl, he normally wins. When you catch City off a full week of rest, come on, bro. Bye-bye. Y'all couldn't score against Ipswich. Like y'all lost. Y'all gave up 4 to Newcastle. Like I see 3 or 4. Yeah. 3 or 4 goals for us.
Love that. All right.
I would love. I was just gonna say, they just played, like you said, they played Ipswich. They went into extra time. They went all the way to penalties. So they've got a lot of minutes in their legs. If you want to say unfortunate part is they've got a full week to kind of recover. But yeah, I think we win it. I just don't know how close it is. Go ahead, man. My bad.
No good. Shock, awe, and applause. I wanted to take this moment to again talk more City.
The fans must to know that they are not only the only ones that are excited.
By the way, this is Pep on Rodri.
They have to know it. Yeah, it's a 5 month and a half, 6 months after international break will be. So, but one step at a time. We don't have to make stupid decisions to come from, weeks earlier and step backs. But yeah, it looks good. Still, it's not close to come back, I would say. But he's touching the ball today and was in the locker room, making touches with the players. He feels confident. He feels more happier. Yeah, I could not expect before, but I think maybe before the end of the season, not even in the World Cup, in a Premier League, maybe it's going to help us.
And he says not even close. But if he comes back for the final 2 matches, even if it's like 15 minutes, that's the end of May. That's soon. That's going to, I mean, we're already in the 3rd month of this new year. What's another 2 more months? Like, so yeah, I know he's trying to calm us down. He's trying to be like, relax, calm.
I don't want him to play.
I'm sure it'd be like 15 minutes. I'm sure it'd be 15 minutes here or there.
I don't want to see him until sometime, maybe Club World Cup. I don't even care about that. So I don't want to see him until the new year, quite honestly. That's not realistic, I'm sure, but I'm much more concerned about his long-term health than I am even just the emotional lift that we get from just seeing him step foot back on the pitch again, kick a ball. That's going to be great. But, again, Pep's not going to risk it. He said it. It's not worth it, but just a little concern.
Seeing Rodri back on the pitch, I'm going to be wilding.
It's gonna hit hard. Don't get me wrong.
I'm going to be wilding like Elon Musk on that ketamine, baby. I'm going to grab me a chainsaw and be like, ah!
Wow.
Pep doesn't mince words. He doesn't make mistakes, right? He intentionally brought this up. He didn't have to. I mean, the video got released, and you could easily say he's not ready. He just started training. You don't have to bring in a part about, and maybe not even Club or Club, maybe the season, right? Because we finished the season at home this year. We have Bournemouth in the final match. Maybe there's nothing to play for, and maybe Rodri's ready to just sit on the bench. The same way when Kevin came back, right? We thought he was going to play, but remember, Kevin didn't play right away. He was just chilling on the bench. And just like you said, that's the boost I want. I don't want to see him in the Premier League. I just want to see him on the bench in the Premier League. See him on the lineup card. Just on like Rodri. What? Fair. He's there. Like imagine that shot 75 minutes before kickoff. Bournemouth is May 20th. It's Saturday. I'm sorry. We finished at Fulham on the road. But even at Fulham, and you're just like, wait, Sunday, May 25th? That's Rodri? Oh my God. So now everybody's locked in.
Hey,
and then you go 4 weeks later, you get
eye drops.
I'm just saying, I am planning to be in London on the 25th. I am working feverishly to get tickets to those. If he come, look, I don't know. I know what I just said, but if that man gets up off that bench and runs up on that pitch, oh my God, I might lose it.
Even if it's stoppage time. If you
I don't care.
The match, Rodri comes back in the 91st minute. Oh my God, to end the season. And just because the thing is, Rodri could just stand there as center back. He just stand. He ain't got to do nothing. Just stand beside Ederson. Have a conversation. Talk. Yeah. Like I would love that, man. Like, and I'm excited for it. This is the perfect shot call and applause. Great job, Crunk. Great job.
Yeah, I was like, I don't really care. I mean, it was just FA Cup games, like
because we talked about it all. We know what's happening.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh man, I do want to give a shout to Barca's going crazy. I don't know if y'all have seen. They've scored so many goals in the last few matches. Like they are dominating now. Hansi Flick is a genius, bro. It didn't work for Germany for national team because I think he's a club coach and he needs his players more consistently. But boy, what they're doing right now, Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, Simon, name Pedri leading the major European leagues and takeaways. Like that man, they are balling, bro. Like, and I'm glad that Real Madrid's fallen off in the last like 7 weeks or 7 matches. So Barca's got a clear lead by 3 at the top. Like, fuck Real Madrid. So good on Barca.
Bird ass. I create moments. That's more important than any statistic. What do you think freaking Salah is doing? He's creating moments by scoring. He's creating
all the goals.
Like, what do you talk? I create moments.
And
Yeah.
People go for 2
Salah
seconds
is
and then you
insane
lose the
right
ball.
now.
Like, what are we
Yo, Salah,
doing?
he's about to go 30-20, which you don't do. You don't go
Salah
20-20.
is
He's about to
really
go
like
30-20.
he's insane. And
He is
so
him
I hope that he leaves and goes to
somewhere.
anywhere outside the PL. I don't even care.
Leave
Go somewhere outside the
England,
PL.
please.
I'm not happy that City is where they are. But if City had to be there this season, right, just like when Liverpool won their first one and we had a big gap, I can appreciate Mo Salah's greatness now. Like,
Yeah.
because we aren't going against them. It's not like when we started the pod and we're looking at the run in and who are they playing. Like, no, we know it's over. So to be able to appreciate a man who is every week giving you a G, A, or both, it's ridiculous, dog. Like, I don't know how he's doing it. And he's 32. Look at our 32-year-olds.
From
Like,
a inside forward / wing position. He's not even a striker, dude.
dominating
This
the
dude is
pitch.
insane.
Like, he is the greatest winger in Premier League history, and it's not close, not at all.
Yeah, there's some people that would argue with you on that, but
Who they got?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not gonna argue for it. It's not mine.
Didn't do it this long. You got the greats that play striker, like a true 9, but he has changed that wide attacker position. Like, he is the only one that's done it this way, this long, all these 20 goal seasons. He's about to have 2 seasons over 40. He already has 2 seasons over 40 goal contributions. Is about to break Alan Shearer's record of most GAs in a Premier League season, and that's when he had 40-some matches. Like, this is a historic season, and I'm just happy that we don't have to go in a run-in right now. Like, go ahead and get your numbers and then lose next year.
That's fair. And this will lead into Baby Blue Baddies, but the article came out that WSL is pondering getting rid of Pro Rel, and that way it would inspire other clubs to financially support their clubs a little bit more. And I'm going to play GT was asked about this. Garrett Taylor was asked about it.
I've always had this thing of potentially making the league bigger, more teams, 14, 16 teams, I think would change a lot, would create more competition within it. On first visual of looking at that piece this morning around no relegation, I can completely understand the reasons why. Because it allows stability a little bit for those clubs to invest and create more competition. But I think that's always kind of tough when you're playing in the league below, knowing that realistically you're never going to have an opportunity to come up, and because it's ring fenced. So I don't know, I need to have a look at it a little bit more. I can see all of the reasons why they were suggesting it and trying to create stability within teams. If you look at Reading as an example, probably in my time certainly in the first couple of seasons were, in the WSL, fallen away, now fallen out of the Championship. There's positive and negative to both things. I think sometimes I've always been about keeping it simple. I think promotion and relegation are always going to be what supporters and teams play for and crave, and I think that really is going to be difficult to move away from that.
And it's just Super League vibes, which I feel like everybody hated, right? So, yeah, I mean, I get wanting people to feel comfortable, but it's the same thing over here at MLS. It's like, put your money where your mouth is. And, yeah.
Actually, if this is we are going to pause relegation for 3 years, 4 years, right? Give me a defined time period. And the point is we're going to keep adding teams each year instead of sending teams down. And so now I forget, is it 12, right? That's why we call it the 12
right now.
Right? So if it grows over the next 4 years from 12 to 16, 18, 20 teams, then it's a means to an end. But to his point, what teams are you keeping out in that? So like, if instead of like you play the whatever the second level, the second division, right? You play that season and people that would normally go up, they go up, but nobody comes down. So now you just keep adding 2 teams or a team or whatever it is each year. So after 3 years, you've added 6 teams. Now you're at 18. 18 is is what, they run with in Germany and all those other places as far as league size. So I can understand it from that standpoint. I also could understand why people may not like it because, again, it's just different. But to throw it out completely, I would hate for that to happen. I feel like relegation is just a part, or not just relegation, but promotion and relegation is just a fundamental part of the football world and the football pyramid in general. I hate that we don't have it here. I would love to see us add it, but to take it away over there, if you took it away permanently, I would have an issue with it. But again, more than me having an issue, I could understand why fans over there, clubs, whatever, would have an issue over there.
I mean, that's a great point, though. Like the whole add a team every year, just, hey, for the next 4 years, just focus on getting the best teams that you can. And then in 4 years, we'll have grown out our league and we can go from there. I like that idea. That idea is fun.
And
but
then
yeah,
those
just the
teams,
whole idea, it'd just be suck to be, just know that you will never be able to get it.
Yeah. And so the teams that do come up, they benefit from saying, hey, you know what? If we make it up, we can truly invest because we know we're going to have 3 years at that level. It's not like, right now we have a lot of yo-yo clubs on the men's side. They go up, they're right back down. Go up, right back down. So you really can't bank on anything from an MLS, or excuse me, not MLS, but from a Premier League standpoint, because chances are I'm not going to be there a year from now. So you just taking that parachute payment and you don't change too much, you don't add. But with this, if they had a guaranteed 3 years, they could actually go invest in players, invest in infrastructure, and really build the league out to make it better. Again, I want to see us do that in the US because that's where we live. I want to see that type of, whatever. But from their perspective, again, I get it.
So listening to y'all and doing some research, the only major women's league in Europe that I saw between France, England, Germany, Spain, is that has 16 teams is in Liga Femenil in Spain. France and Germany only have 12. Obviously, the WSL has 12. So I feel like 16 is being done in another country. What you also have, though, is that in that one, we know how dominant Real Madrid is. I mean, how dominant Barca women are, right? So whatever, but I think this is naturally more competitive already. It feels like wanting to be like the NWSL, which, as Tom and others have educated me over the past few years, is the most competitive women's league in the world. And I think you can also look at what happens in Mexico as well. I think there's something to say, hey, if we get 16 teams that are fighting for something every year, it helps. And I like GT's answer because he really is like, you asked me the question, I'm telling you both sides of it. I can get it. It also is obviously breaking the norm of what we do here. But let's be real. It's not like they're already treating women great and now we're trying to change some paradigm. If anything, this is a response to the lack of investment from clubs to say, hey, put money into this game. Stop having players that want to go and leave, right? There's a reason why Laia Alexandria is about to go back to Barca. They're going to pay her more. Not that she's from Spain. She's about to get a bag that City, for whatever reason, probably isn't going to pay. So it's like this stuff matters. And so I would want, if you had to say, make a choice now, I'll take it. And let's just have a 16-team league. I like the way Tarek said the idea of getting there, right? Even if it's over 2 years and you do, the top 2 will go up. So in by 2027, you got 16 and boom, we cooking. And now everybody below us, they know that's coming. So even if you get relegated this year, you got a chance to come up and stay for good. Think about the intensity of those levels, right? And things can always change. Nothing is set in stone for forever. Like the Premier League in the men's side didn't exist until it did. You can go up and you can move it down. Like you can always go with times and figure it out. But I think we talk about seizing the moment with women's sports and everything that those Lionesses did in England and winning the Euros and coming up on another Euros. I wouldn't be opposed to it, man. And this is coming because the women WSL is under new ownership, the WPLL, which started running it last year. And clearly they're thinking of ways to like make this product be the best product it can be, even if it goes against all the norms.
Wonderful conversation. Hey, I didn't know how we were going to kill like this, but this was fantastic. I love it.
Hey, we cook on Monday nights, bro. Monday nights are dope.
Monday
you
nights
got time to like let the weekend settle. You thinking about stuff. You get it in, and look at it. Tarek here. I told you we're gonna take off for Tom. Tom, you heal. Don't be Nathan Ake. Don't be Manuel Akanji. Don't be Laporte. You take care of yourself because we got you. Even when it comes to the WOSO, we got you, bro.
Oh man! And speaking of, City went to that Gone Group Stadium, that beat up ass stadium. Orient legitimately played the day before. So City women and Tottenham were playing on a pitch that was just freshly destroyed. And you could see it on the screen. You could just see divots everywhere. The ball just they would pass it and it's just boom, 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 boom. We saw it a month ago, 2 months ago, whatever it was, when City played Orient. The pitch wasn't good then, and it's only gotten worse. It was tough. It was annoying, but they handled it. Tottenham, super physical. Like they brought it. Let me get to the starting lineup before we continue. Yamashita started. We have a back line of Wahhabi, Alexandri, Lazel, and Kasparai. Yui, Blinkilde, Brown, and Medina as our midfielders. Carolyn getting the start on the left, Fujino on the right, and Bunny Shaw up top. Like I said, just Tottenham super intense with the press, lots of physicality, leaving like even when City players were getting rid of the ball, they were Tottenham was making sure that they were being felt. And a lot of players struggled with that. Alexandri struggled with that. Carolyn really struggled with that. Blinkilde Brown really struggled with that. And because those players struggled to really get the ball up the pitch, Bunny over and over and over again had to keep dropping back and trying to help. But every single time she would get the ball and she would try to give it to like Carolyn, she would then lose the ball. Try to get it to Blinkilde Brown, would then lose the ball. Or she would get the ball and she would turn and all of her midfielders are like running up the pitch trying to get the ball or wanting to try to score. It was a lot of like Gareth will say, and I have a clip of him post-match, they were basically, City were just kind of opening themselves up for Tottenham to kind of play with them. It was a game that our ladies needed a lot more calmer, some more pause on the ball. But again, it's tough. We don't have Kanak. That was very much felt. Lazel, like she's back. She did great. There were moments watching her on the ball, bro. That charged me up because she's just so calm.
She's a unit.
And chill.
She's so big.
Like,
she's so large.
It reminds me of like John Stones on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like just because he's just so tall, like surprisingly lanky but strong, and players are trying to get the ball off of him, and he's just like la 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 la, nope, and just like pass it over to somebody and it just sets them up for greatness. It was a very fun. It was a very frustrating match to watch, but in the end, we got the win, and that's all that matters. Fujino balling out. Sharpie?
To that point, man, Oliver Fujino is the reason Chloe Kelly plays for Arsenal. Like, whatever Gareth Taylor saw, he knew this is the one. And he said, you are expendable, Chloe Kelly. Maybe there's some other arguments and things that happen, blah, blah, blah. And we got the statement on Instagram, but it's about on the pitch. There's a reason why Chloe Kelly could not break and get her spot back because Alba came and took that joint. Like, and she's gotten so much better throughout the season. We saw before the international break where she's going at people. We saw it in this match. She gets the first assist of Viv. She gets the goal from her countrywoman Yui. Crazy control, left-footed finish, like just sublime. Like the skill. And this is the match. Again, we won a match without Bunny Shaw scoring, without Jill Roord or Jess Park starting, without Kanak in the back line. We won the match. You know who didn't win a match this weekend? Chelsea. Chelsea drew to Brighton. That was the craziest shock of the weekend.
It was very insane, yeah.
And it actually might have been slightly more shocking, but maybe not, maybe equally as shocking as the fact that Arsenal was down 2-0 to West Ham and then was down 1-3 to West Ham. And somehow they scored 3 goals in 6 minutes to win. It was a chaotic 7-goal thriller. Okay. WSL chaos was real. Like I know the 12 are gonna have a fun time. Yes. They're gonna have a fun time recording because things were happening. Liverpool got their new manager bounce after Matt Beer got dropped. So shouts to them. But yeah, man, like we got hope now. Like Arsenal looks flappable. You know, they control their fate, but they got a lot of matches left to play. So, maybe if we keep winning, they drop a point or two and we see what happens. But I'm really proud of the way the Baby Blue Baddies came through and, bad field, rust, whatever, tired legs. We got the job done. And getting 3 points, that's all that matters.
It was very much tired legs. Gareth was saying Fowler and the Japan ladies, they didn't get to Manchester on Friday morning. And then they played on, so they got there Friday, they rested. Saturday, they headed to London. And Sunday, they played. Roard Park played maximum minutes for their country. They played 180 minutes during their time off as well. So there's just a lot of players. Yamashita played two out of the 3 games. Yui played 2 out of the 3 games. Like, shout out to their manager, like resting them for a whole match. I was like shocked when I checked one of the She Believe Cup games. That it was the second one where they both were benched, and I was like, oh, okay. But it obviously worked because they thrashed U.S. women in the last match and won the cup. So yeah, obviously they got something going on. Yeah, it's just, this is a very important time of, I have Leia and GT post-match. Here's Leia.
Yeah, as I said, really tough, but very positive, a lot of confidence for what's coming. I think we need to fight as a team like today, and that's the way that it needs to follow. Because it doesn't matter like the way that we win. The important thing is that we show our character, our quality, no matter what, and I think that's positive.
And GT.
Yeah, we found it tough today. We invited quite a bit of pressure from Spurs. Scored our first attack, brilliant goal, really good play, and then started to take control of the game a little bit. But we really suffered in the duels today. We were looked a bit like flat, a little bit second in most of the challenges, and Spurs were quite direct, a lot of corners. But the girls stood up to it. I think second half was improved, still difficult, but improved. Caused a lot of final actions, a lot of clearances off the line from their keeper, potentially one that went over the line. But really pleased for Alba because she deserves that goal. Fabulous finish, and she's done a lot of really good stuff for the team. But the girls showed great spirit. You have to give them credit. I think sometimes you have to win ugly and find a way to win, and we certainly did that today. And I have a feeling like the whole month's going to be like this. The pitches are not great at this moment. I think in another month or 2 time, they're going to be much better. So we are going to struggle maybe to play our game, certainly in possession. So we have to fight. We have to fight. And I think if winning ugly this month is the word, then we're going to have to do it.
Man, I love that. Hey, if winning ugly is what we got to do, then we just got to embrace that. And coming up is West Ham on Wednesday. It's a tough match because West Ham, they're playing better football. We talked about their wonderful, crazy match that they played against Arsenal. Really, it was a story of their striker, Martinez, Shakira Martinez. She was a beast, just kind of like taking on the ball, running through players. She just was very forward. As good as she did, she lost most duels in the match against Arsenal. She lost so she is prone to lose the ball, but she also has that just innate belief in herself, which strikers kind of need. But overall, they haven't done great. They have their 1 win against Brighton on the 16th, but other than that, they lost 2 out of their last 5 games. They lost 6 out of their last 8, 6 out of their last 9. So they can get got like very much easily. This should be a win, and it'll just be interesting to see who gets the start, who plays where and what, because we again have the match against Aston Villa on the weekend.
Real quick, I just want to shout out something Gareth mentioned about that. It wasn't like it kind of went over the line. That was a horrible missed call.
Oh, it's so bad.
And heck, I don't know if you've ever been able to see the still shot from where that ball was when it was
Yeah.
cleared. Crazy. Like watching that live, I'm like, wait, it took a while for that ball
We
to
were
cross
like,
the line. This wasn't John Stones, but talk about the lack of investment, the lack of equality, equity, whatever you want to call it. There's no goal line technology in WSL. So what would happen in Premier League? We would have got those shots, the little images come up, ball across the line. Okay, we're done, whatever. That's not VAR. We're just asking for the goal to have the
Yeah.
camera down
Watch would have
because
went
of where they,
off.
yeah, the watch goes off, boom, okay, go. That's it. And it should have been. That would have changed the whole match. And so I was embarrassed for the league and disappointed that they still haven't made it equitable because you would never see that on a top tier men's side ever. It doesn't happen. And it could have cost City 3 points. Who
honestly, yeah.
knows? And so, or 2 points, maybe you get a draw. But yeah, so just want to put that out there. But I think we beat West Ham 3-1.
Yeah, and we should. Oh man! And then this match against Aston Villa, it would be. It's gonna be a tough game, but Aston Villa, they're also not great this season. In fact, this is the worst they've been. They're now actually in a relegation fight with Crystal Palace. They sit 11th in the league. They have lost 4 in a row, specifically, and 4 in a row in the league. They won the FA. Obviously, they won an FA Cup to continue, but they haven't won in the WSL since December 15th. And I know there was like a couple of international breaks in between there, so it makes it sound like way worse than it was. But they've let players go in the winter transfer window. They've just made some really bad decisions. So yeah, if we beat West Ham, we should be able to beat Aston Villa by more, honestly. And the fact that it's a cup competition to move on, that's more pressure. It's the game before we start getting into the stuff against Chelsea. I think the ladies, our baby blue baddies, will be focused.
You kind of hit on this when talking about the Gareth Taylor comments about relegation, whatever. I've admittedly not paid a close attention this season at all on the WSL side. Shame on me. But it is remarkable how stark the delineation between the top 4 teams, 41, 36, 33, 31. And then the team in 5th place has 19 points. It's insane. The bottom 3 teams that are in the relegation spaces, you add all their points together, all 3 of them combined don't have as many points as City, who are sitting in 4th. It is why you need additional investment all the way down the table. You can't just have 4 teams and that's it. And I guess that's your point, Sharpie, about how the NWSL is the most competitive because you do have multiple teams that could potentially win it. It's much more, if you want to say, equitable distribution of just the talent or whatever. But it's crazy to see that stark of just that line right there behind under 4th, and it's just like, wow, it drops off right after that.
And it really is just if teams had just a couple more players, like Leicester City, they need a better keeper. There have been so many games that they've been close in it, but they're just keeper respectfully just really isn't doing it for them. Or their defense, they're not able to hold on to leads and things like that. It's if each of these teams in the bottom half could just get 1 or 2 extra players, it would make things more difficult for Chelsea, because there have been multiple games where they've drawn. Or there have been multiple games where they were behind and all of a sudden they make the subs and teams have to make the subs. And now you see the talent drop off. And that's when Chelsea are able to pull ahead. It's like Everton. They're doing their thing now. And that's ever since they got their new ownership, and the vibes there just in general seem better. And they're beating down teams. They're making it trouble for others. So yeah, it's just the idea of investment. And I say it every single week, especially during our watch alongs. Like, the investment in the women's game is so inconsequential compared to the men's. So like that's the thing that's really frustrating is if you're already like Tottenham, you're already a top club who has money. Like, bro, an extra 10, $15 million to this women's side, which doesn't go against PSR. Like, it really doesn't. Chelsea women, their team, they sold their team to someone else and got money off of that. Like, they're still ways. They're
sold
still
it to
playing
themselves.
Yeah, there's still like loopholes in the WSL. So like, take advantage of them while you can. Like, I'm not saying like cheat, but also like figure out a way to grow the game. And obviously Germa helps, but also Germa, the world's best defender, for $1 million. Like, that's $1 million. Like, bro, that's insane to think that that's a world transfer. $1.1 million. It's just frustrating. Oh, all right. Well, that's our episode. Please like, subscribe, comments, rate, review, follow us on socials. All those links are down in our show descriptions. Subscribe to our Patreon. Amazing episodes coming out over the next couple of weeks. I have my trip to England in a couple of weeks, so I will be creating tons of content for that. Just this weekend, I recorded. I'm going to try to do the YouTuber thing where, you're talking to the camera and you build and, experience the trip with Crunk and all those other things. This is me stepping outside of my box because really I feel like this is the part that I don't think anybody cares about. Yeah, like all the stuff. I'm going to have so much fun. I have a lot of people that I'm going to be kicking it with, and some drinks will be had, some shenanigans will be had. So yeah, tap in with us. All the fun will happen. Show Bros, please let people know where they can find you. Tarek, let's start with you.
Tarek Peterson, TarikPeterson. Type it in. If it comes up and it's me, cool. If not, then you got the wrong person. Go ahead, hit me
up. At Sharpie Charlie, Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram, Ballhead, can't miss it. I'll be everywhere.
Yeah, I like this funny show. Y'all are funny. Oh man, and follow the pod at Shades of Blue and W, at Shades of Blue and W. If we are on a app at Shades of Blue, we will be there. All right. You know the vibes. Shady gang, shady gang, shady gang.